These are Feastables, a chocolate bar created by the biggest YouTuber in the world, mrbeast. It's great, it's delicious, but it's missing one thing. What is it? Remember this guy? He's the Kool-Aid Man. He's one of the greatest product mascots ever, along with this one and this one. These characters are single-handedly the reason why I bought some of the things that I bought as a kid. I'm Ant217 and today I'm gonna create mascots for YouTube products. Let's get started. First up, Feastables, a delicious piece of chocolate. And I'm not talking about myself. mrbeast makes this great chocolate bar with amazing packaging, and because of this, I already have a great starting point. He has this great blue tiger logo, so I already know that I'm gonna draw a tiger. Now I gotta make sure that he doesn't look like Tony the Tiger is going through a midlife crisis and he's starting to dye his hair blue. So I'm gonna change the style up a little bit. We don't want our character to be a copycat. And I know I draw a lot of girls, but don't worry, I'm not gonna draw any cat girls in this video. Sorry, perverts. I'm gonna make my character a little bit more cutesy and have a style of more of a chibi character. To do this, I want the head significantly larger than the body, like 2 times the size of the body. Once I have the base sketch for the character, I run into my first problem. I'm a dog person. I don't know how to draw cats, so I need some references. I gather a bunch of reference photos of actual cats and some cartoony characters and some cartoon cats, just so I know what they're supposed to look like. Now I'm ready to draw the character. Now with this style, it's easy to make things a little bit too cute, and we don't want that. We want our character to look cool. So I give him a cooler expression and a better pose using what I already have as a reference. And I read the comments. I know some of you say I don't know how to draw hands, but I do know how to draw paws. Look at those paws. I haven't seen better paws than that since I was watching the Avengers movie and I paused it on that Black Widow scene. And I lost the remote for 2 hours. Whoops, wrong paws. For this one, the inks are very important. Usually I would change the color of the inks to match the colors that are inside of the character, so you get more of a lineless art look and feel. But for this one, I want to keep those rich black outlines. It makes the mascot pop, and it makes him stand out. So it's very important to get those right. I want thicker lines on the outside of the character and where there's going to be shadow, and thinner lines on the inside of the character and where there's going to be more light. It's important to have a variety of line weights. Take your time, this can be tedious, but you want to make sure you get this right. When I'm done with the inks, it's time to add the color. I use the color picker to select the color off the candy bar. Get that blue and get that pink, which is my favorite color combination anyway. I also add a black hoodie to the character because I always see Jimmy wearing black hoodies. Can I call you Jimmy? We're pretty much best friends now. Now I wanted to show the product in the image, so I added a Feastables bar and I masked it out to make it look like the mascot was holding that bar. It's important to add some ambient occlusion and some rendering on the bar as well, just to make sure it looks like it's part of the drawing. In my normal workflow, this is the part where I would usually change the color of the line art, but I'm not doing that for this one because I think those black outlines make the mascot pop. So I add some finishing touches like halftones and cross-hatching. And sometimes my dogs interrupt me and they want me to pick them up, but no, I'm not gonna do it. I did it. Make sure you get that drop shadow in, and here he is, the Feastables. I can see myself watching my morning cartoons and begging my parents to take me to get my own Feastables bar. I love the way he came out. All this candy and all this hard work got me thirsty. This is Prime, created by KSI and Logan Paul. Upside down? I practiced this so many times and I still failed. That's good. When I think of the word Prime, I think of being active and strong, so I want my character to be extremely buff. I'm gonna exaggerate that by making him a very cartoony looking character as well. So for those muscles, I need to get reference photos, so I just used myself. I decided to give him this angry expression, but not because he's an angry or bad or mad character, it's just because he's hyped up and excited and strong. Kind of like he's doing a workout grunt. Ugh. And I don't know why or when or how this happened, but I ended up kind of just drawing a version of KSI. That wasn't intentional at first, but I liked the way it was coming out, so I added that headband and the dreads. Also, when I think of the word Prime, I also think of the word Primal. So I wanted to give him a more caveman aesthetic. So I give him this hairy chest and a lot of hair on his chin. So I add this stubble. When I finish adding my colors, I continue working on the rendering similar to the way I did in the last one. I want a cel-shaded look, but I took this time to do some experimentation. I used a different type of brush. I used a textured brush because I wanted to add a little bit of grunge and a little bit of grit to the character, a little bit of ruggedness. This is something that I've never really done before, but it's important when you're growing as an artist to experiment with different things. You might find some stuff that you really love, and some stuff that you hate. When I'm done with the shadows, I do that same process for the lighting, and then I move on to those inks. Now for mascots, you usually have a dark black outline, but I wanted to make this one look more like 3D art, so I want to get rid of those outlines altogether. For this, I used Photoshop to colorize those lines and use the dodge tool to make it a little bit more brown. I was able to do this because there's not a lot of different color variation on this character because he's not really wearing a shirt and is just pretty much 2 or 3 colors. But for some parts, I needed to use a clipping mask on the ink layer and then select the color of the character and then color onto those lines. This completely gets rid of all of the inking. Now, originally, I didn't want to add a background, which is why I did my rendering before the background, which you should not do, but more on that later. But I decided to add a background for this one, so I took an image of a wrestling ring or a boxing ring, whichever you're into, and I made it really big, and I used those lighting effects in that background to add more lighting to my character. And here it is, the Prime mascot. Next up, Joyride by Ryan Trahan, which I am so excited to try at a later date. Unfortunately, I couldn't go to Target today and pick one up, but I will eventually because I'm so excited about this product. For this one, I went a completely different route. I wanted to do a more character design process, so I got a model that I found online and I used it as an underpainting and started drawing on top of it. Now, I'm not really tracing, I'm just adding features on top of that base model just because I want to figure out what features and what I want the character to look like. I'm not really trying to finalize anything, I'm just sketching in some ideas. I'm not going to use this as my final image. I start sketching and I more focus on the pose rather than anything else. As you can see, I do the body and a lot of the costuming before I even get to the face. There is no right or wrong way to do this. I just really felt like I know what I want the face to look like and that will be a little bit easier. So I wanted to spend more time on the hard dynamic pose and getting everything in the right perspective. Be sure to use that first character design sketch that you have as your reference point, and you can also gather other references. My main inspiration for this one was the product name, Joyride. I wanted my character to look like an extreme character, like he loves adrenaline. He's an adrenaline junkie. I could have drawn him riding a skateboard or roller skates or a bicycle, but I didn't want just one group of people that ride skateboards or people that ride bikes to relate to the character more than the other. So I made my own contraption. It doesn't really single anyone out, so anyone can relate. I also went this extreme route because this candy is supposed to be a healthier alternative to other candies, but I want to show that it still can be very exciting. When I'm done with the inks, I start doing the colors, and I use the color picker to pick the colors from the wrapping, from the candy, because Ryan Trahan makes it a point to not add any artificial coloring. So I wanted to make sure I add those exact colors. I kind of got lost in the process of this one, which is why he doesn't have thick black outlines, and he doesn't really look like a mascot per se. But I feel like he would be the main character in the commercial for Joyride. For this one, I wanted to add a background because I wanted to look more like a shot from the commercial. So before I do my rendering, I need to add that background. It's important to have your background first because it can dictate where the light is coming from. Things in your background or in your environment can add drop shadows and cast shadows all over the character and light as well. So this helps you complete your rendering in a more accurate way. And because I didn't want to be super repetitive, I didn't add the product to the image. Not in the same way, but I'm gonna tell you that right after you hit subscribe. Did you do it? Did you press subscribe? Great. So for this one, I added the logo onto his shirt. I used the swirls from the packaging and I added a circle on his shirt to make that logo. Then I used the Joyride logo and put it right on top. I also add a piece of Joyride flying out of this extreme character's mouth because he's enjoying that candy. I think this will be an awesome basis to an amazing commercial. And here he is, the Joyrider. Let me know in the comments down below if you've tried all these products. Let me know which one is your favorite. Let me know which mascot is your favorite. Which one you think will make you want to buy the product even more. Me, I love the Feastables. It's my favorite. I think it looks the most like a mascot, and I think it'll be the most effective in making me want to buy the product. Don't forget to hit subscribe, hit that bell, and remember, I'm awesome, I think. Watch this video right here. I promise you're gonna love it.